It's now time to bring you our feature on the show today, as the Central Bank of Nigeria set the date October the 1st this year as the takeoff date for the launch of the pilot scheme of its digital currency. Now, last month, the Apex Bank announced plans to launch its own digital currency before the close of the year. It said about 80% of central banks globally are currently exploring the possibility of issuing their central bank digital currency, and Nigeria cannot be left out. According to Rakiya Mohammed, CBN Director of Information Technology, she says that the Apex Bank had been conducting research since 2017 in regards to developing a digital currency. According to her, the project name is tagged Giant, and it will also use Hyperledger Fabric blockchain. Joining me now live via Skype to discuss this and much more, I have Benga Onifade, Public Finance and Policy Analyst. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
Good morning.
Now, if this pilot scheme of the eNaira is eventually launched, Nigeria will join other countries across the globe and Africa racing to develop its central bank digital currency. Some of these countries include South Africa's digital rand, Tunisia's eNaira, Ghana ECD, and we've also had the likes of China's digital yuan, Bahamas San Dollar, and then Eastern Caribbean D-Cash as well, amongst few countries that have already officially launched their own national digital currency. But within the scope of looking at regulations, the call for sanitizing operations, because earlier this year, the CBN banned cryptocurrency transactions in the country and also warned that cryptocurrencies pose a risk to loss of investment, money laundering, terrorism financing, illicit fund flows, and much more. How does this report come to you, and how do we begin to develop regulatory frameworks?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think we should talk about the CBDC itself, which is central bank digital currency. You know, it does actually operate as a wallet whereby customers can hold existing funds in the bank accounts, and it's more or less, in this case, I think the system where Nigeria is, or which Nigeria is introducing, it's a hybrid kind of system whereby you do get your money in electronic form, and it is fully backed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, with Nigeria, talking about a ban over cryptocurrencies, but we've got to understand these are private cryptocurrencies, and these are looking to they're looking to compete with the Naira. So, talking about the private cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, and these operate on what we call a decentralized system. And when we have a decentralized system, that eradicates the Central Bank of Nigeria, in a way, so to speak. So, I think what they are doing in order to wade aware of competitions from these private cryptocurrencies, I think it's the right thing to do for a leading, organization, for a leading country like Nigeria.
And now, what volume of reception do you also forecast that would have for this digital currency, which would also have, in terms of value, looking at competition from other digital currencies? Take, for example, the Bank of England sees their digital currency, hoping that this would also equal fiscal cash for transactions. Do you think Nigerians will give it a warm welcome?
I've actually heard and I've read a lot about, a lot of Nigeria, they're not warming towards this actually. Why is that? Because, it does actually have a lot of potential benefits. But let's talk about the quick disadvantages first, and we'll move into the benefits. We know that if we have the private cryptocurrencies without this eNaira, of course, the banks will fall and the entire structure of the global economy would be destroyed, including Nigeria's CBN. So people are not warming towards it. And of course, if you look at the rate at which Naira is skyrocketing right now. But let's look at the advantages this will bring. Because if we have the eNaira, which the which the CBN is introducing, number one, it has a lot of advantages. Number one, you will have a lot of unbanked being able to be banked right now. And number two, there are a better monetary policy transmission will be encouraged as well. Tax revenue collections, it will work better for the government. And of course, because right now the tax revenue collection has been very, very little. If Nigeria is able to trace that and able to collect more tax, because we have a centralized system where all funds cannot be taken, I think that will be better used, of course, because I mean part of what's affecting Nigeria as a whole is the fact that, you know, tax just been very little. It cannot be really tracked. You cannot collect accurately what you can. You know, people just declare what they can. So of course people are not warming up to it, but it is to their benefit. Overall, if you look at it, there's beneficial, even macro and micro growth management for the country, cross-border trade supplies, financial inclusion all round. So it will be better for us. But of course, again, what do I say? Nigeria as a whole, people tend to feel like they've been failed all along. So whenever you get this future implementation or growth suggestions, I think people would just, you know, look at it with, you know, with kind of like a side eye and think, well, what do we expect?
Well, our fingers remain crossed as to what would actually play out. But now let's look at best and worst case scenarios now with this initiative. What do you think would be the biggest mistake we'll make with regards to the digital currency, taking cues from what we've had in terms of the playouts in the cryptocurrency market? What would be the biggest mistake Nigeria might likely make? Yes, the CBN says that they've already conducted research since 2017 up till now. That's about a 4-year period. But these sort of initiatives get perfected over time.
It does. Excuse me. If you think about it, the policy, as it's called, it's a pilot scheme called Giant. So it's not a full rollout yet. I think what they want to do is, you know, kind of like do it as a research, be able to learn from it, you know, kind of like create like a sandbox whereby lessons are learned before it's eventually opened up to the general public. What are the biggest mistakes they could make? Of course, I think rolling out without proper testing, I think that would be a big mistake. Again, one of the big mistakes that we make, which is very common to Nigeria, is the fact that we do not have this infrastructure. So we don't want to carry the horse before the cart. We need to have the available infrastructures to roll this out. Even if you roll it out, it's probably, I mean, what's the bank's population right now? Now you're talking about the electronic format. Yes, we know, you know, over 90% of the population can use a phone, but do we have the infrastructure right now? Because this is, if you're talking electronics, it's banked on the most basic of all necessities, and that's electricity, because all electricity is all fed from the substations, and then we're talking about the data centers, which have to be constantly powered. So that, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. So do we need it now? I think so, but without fixing what we'll need to power this thing. I think that's one of the biggest one of the biggest transaction mistakes we will make, and especially the policyholders need to look into.
Hopefully the policy makers look into that direction and ensure that all of the different loopholes are attended to, and we fine-tune this initiative so that once we have the pilot scheme, a kickoff would be the next line of action. Thank you very much for your time on The Breakfast Show this morning. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Benga Unifade.
Thanks for having me.